Hi, my name is Robert. This video is designed to give you step-by-step detailed instruction on completing the task at hand. Visit my YouTube channel and watch my disclaimer video. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you find the information you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I'm going to try to help you lower the risk in pulling a bad motor out of a car in the salvage yard. As you can see, I'm in the salvage yard. Hundreds of cars out here. And I'm actually looking for a good head for a Volvo 850, and I believe this one is a head that hasn't been damaged too much. I believe it has a burnt valve. So this video will show you how to kind of explain to you how to pick a motor and hopefully get a good one. I've had good success so far, and we're gonna go from there. Of course, the best indicator is that the car is wrecked. I mean wrecked in a way that would make it difficult to drive or be unsafe to drive. If a car has extensive body damage, that's a good clue that this car was probably recently on the road and it had an accident and the motor's still good. Second thing to do is to try to look at the car if it doesn't have any visible damage. Really, the only thing I know to tell you is to do one of these dry compression tests, or you can actually wet them. So let me go ahead and show you how I do the compression tests while the car is in the salvage yard. What I try to do is check compression. Of course, the numbers are not going to be good since you cannot crank the motor. The motor hadn't been running a while. It's not warm, but you should get some compression from it. So if you don't get any compression in several of the cylinders, it's probably overheated and has extensive damage. But if you have decent compression in most of the cylinders and only one or two of them is low, really you only want one of them to be low, if any. If two of them's low, it's probably been an overheat situation, but you can check, see if it had a burnt valve. So first thing I do, I access the spark plugs, I pull the wires, pull the plugs, access the timing belt area where I can get access to the crank, and then I screw in my compression gauge. This is a standard compression gauge here. If you pull the spark plugs out of the car, it'll be easier to crank the motor over by hand. You want to do that as fast as you can. This compression gauge is about 45 bucks at your local auto parts store, or you could go to Freight Harbor, get one for probably under 30 bucks. But as you can see, it has all the the PSI readings on there up to 300, and it has the tube on it and the adapter that'll fit in the spark plug holes. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this in number one and put my socket on the crank and turn the motor over. Another thing that you want to be aware of when you're trying to determine if a motor is good or not, if you need the whole motor, you want to put a wrench on the crank, and once you got the spark plugs pulled, you should be able to turn that crank around with one hand. If you can't move that crank around, the bottom end has something probably major wrong with it, and you just want to step away. So here I got a ratchet on the crank, and as you can see, I can move this crank around with one hand. If you can't do that, there's more likely something wrong with the bottom end, and you don't need to get into all that kind of work if you're trying to swap a motor. You don't have to use a socket and extension and stuff like I have, but I do have an half-inch tools, couple extensions so I could clear the wheel, and I'm gonna put this on the crank and turn it around at least 2 full times, so I know I'll pop compression in that one cylinder at least 2 times and see what kind of reading I get on my gauge. Okay, I went around twice and got 60 psi. That's a little bit lower than I want. In one motor, I got between 90 and 95 psi across all the cylinders. Now what I can do is put a little oil in each cylinder, which I did bring about 2 ounces of oil with me. So in the other cylinders, I'm going to drop a couple of ounces, or about a ½ ounce in each cylinder, and see if I get higher readings on the gauge. You don't want to put too much oil in there because you don't want oil getting up on inside your gauge tube. You just want enough to wet the piston wall and hopefully seal the piston wall so that you could get a strongest reading as possible with that cylinder. So I had a little medicine bottle that I took from home. I put some oil in it, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour about a ½ ounce in each cylinder so that I can hopefully get a compression reading on each cylinder and see what my compression is with some oil added. So this is going to be a cold, wet test on compression. So I'm going to relieve the pressure on that gauge, move it to the next cylinder, and check the compression through the rest of the cylinders. Okay, on this second cylinder, I got about 110 wet. So I'm going to check the other 3, let you know what I find. Okay, I did a compression on all the cylinders, and all of them came up between 110 and 125 except for number 3. So it's either got a burnt valve or a blown head gasket. Since only one of the cylinders were low, if it's a blown head gasket, it's probably repairable and not too bad. If it was more than one cylinder, I would probably try to find another head. But I'm going to go ahead and pull this one and see if I can get it fixed. Okay, I got this head pretty much removed. Now for the moment of truth, to see if I have a burnt valve in number 3 like I thought I did. And here we go. Heck, I do not see a burnt valve in number 3. So this thing probably has a blown head gasket. But I'm going to look a little closer at these valves to see if any of number 3 is messed up. Okay, I did end up getting the head out of the junkyard, and basically one thing that I like to advise, if you're looking for a motor, make sure you have compression in every cylinder, 60 plus. I took a motor once that had 90 plus, so that was good, and that ended up being a good motor. If there's not compression in all the cylinders, make sure you have compression in at least 4 cylinders. If one is bad, it's probably not warped too bad. If one is bad, you may have a burnt valve, or it could have been overheated. I assumed that because one was bad, it had a burnt valve, but it was actually overheated, but it wasn't warped that bad. Now I did come and check this motor to check the head on it, and it had low compression on one cylinder, but it looks like this head has been off. The Volvo sealant is red. This stuff is gray there and down in the spark plug wells. So I left this motor alone because it's probably already been decked once, may not make it through another decking, and I don't need to be wasting my time. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here, and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.